you possible, whose tireless efforts and passion have brought this issue to life. To our brilliant contributors, congratulations on your outstanding work. Your creativity and courage continue to inspire and elevate. Tonight we gather not only just to honor a publication, Foglifter, 11 years, but she's been alive in gay years like 1,000. But we're also here to celebrate the power of words and the connection they forge. Our biannual journal features the widest range of forms with an emphasis on transgressive, risky, challenging subject matter, in innovative formal choices and work that pushes the boundaries of what writing can do. By putting extraordinarily queer and trans writers into the conversation, we uplift a growing community of LGBTQ+ readers and writers, and carve out space in the larger literary community for voices that have historically been silenced. Tonight, you will hear from 9 exceptionally talented queer writers who bring unique voices, powerful stories, and authentic experiences to the forefront. And without any further ado, Cal Calamia is a queer artist from here. He is a trans poet, marathoner, inclusivity activist, educator, and community builder. They are the founder of Too Hot for Hoodies and Non-Binary Plus Run Club, the author of Champlin Shit Show, and the first ever transgender Trailblazer Award recipient. What? Cal is committed to increasing trans visibility, uplifting queer joy, and running fast. Follow along on Instagram at Cal Calamia.
Hello everyone, I'm Cal. That stuff about me is true. It's an honor to be here. Wow, it's very bright. It's like, I feel like this is what happens when people are on stages sometimes. Like, I can't see any of you, but I know you can see me. I'm very grateful to be here. I've actually been rejected by the Foglifter a lot of times. And so, if you've been rejected, keep trying. Thank you. That's all. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to read 3 poems today. This first one is called Haibun for Fire. If you're not familiar with poetry or this specific form, it looks like this. It's a big block of text with a little haiku at the bottom. It's a Japanese form. And this poem is sort of like a meditation on fire and how beautiful it is, but also how destructive, and how much I kind of relate to that. The first time I saw ash fall in my window, I was dumbfounded, living in the attic of an old Victorian with a skylight. I often left it cracked to let in fresh air because heat rises. I claimed the smallest room, the cheapest, hardwood floors dusted with embers. I would sit on the roof some nights with a roommate I had a crush on, cold and excuse to sit close. When I was 3 years old, my brother and I saw a house fire across Washington Street. We ran inside and told Mom, local heroes, my first time on the news. Now, San Francisco, where ash is the new snow. Is it the fire or the smoke, where the local news has my phone number and calls me to ask for my comment on the anti-trans protests? I tell my therapist I am angry, but I do not know what to do. I say, I guess I can run, but it's all AQI and stay inside. Oregon is ignited. Singe or strangulate. Death either way. Sophie says fire needs air. As in, maybe we will feel more in love with each other if she can't find the time of day for me, but invites my girlfriend over for Indian food and wine and Howl's Moving Castle. I fail to accept feelings fading. I stay awake all night aching to know. God, I keep falling in love and it hurts, but this pain is my home aflame and I waltz through the front door. Am I the fire or the smoke? I want to be close, don't smother. Please hold me, not so eager. Anxious and avoidant are puzzle pieces I want so badly it feels like death. My therapist asks if I'm okay with dark feelings. I love them. Blast hot mulligan and light up a joint just to walk through the night and hurt. Pull my hood over my head near the campfire. Lock eyes with that gorgeous engulfing. Let my corneas burn. This unending warmth, a gift at a safe distance. The ceaseless throwing of sticks. Thank you. This next poem is kind of a breakup poem. It's been a while, so I'm okay. But you know when you get out of a relationship and then like everything starts feeling like a problem again, like your mommy issues? Yeah. This poem's a little bit about that. It's called Save the Daylight. There's another dream too. In that one, I say everything I swallow when we are together. I say it with my whole chest, scars out and all, shirtless and making everyone uncomfortable. We have tried this before. I know when I raise my voice, you raise yours more. To be more frank, you scream at me. In California, I learned that some people were never screamed at. I also learned just how hard it is to be in love with both someone who understands and someone who never will. I learned just how hard it is. Now you ask for my new address and I give it to you. I want to call you and ask you if you can be what I always needed from you, but we have tried this before. I'm still on trial as a teenager. I try to tell my siblings that you should not be screaming at them, but they stand up for you. To be more frank, it is all one big sickness. I am afraid I am a puzzle piece that fits nowhere else. I will never know a quiet resolution. I am not you and I am not them. I tried to be in love in California and she is gone now too. Just like you, she says she is still here, but I am actually gone. There are theories for these things, but I'm too tired. Imagine it, someone sees your whole heart shattered on the hardwood of your shared home. They say, that's it, I've had enough, and walk away, but keep texting, I love you, as if the thing is still beating. Okay, I have one more poem. It's happy. You're welcome. And it's about, you know, trans connectedness and finding community. And before I'm going to end with a poem, so before I get off the stage, I just want to say thank you so much to the entire Foglifter team, and thank you to all of you for being here. I know there are a lot of ways you could be spending your night tonight. And I just believe really, really deeply in the transformative power of love across and between identities and experiences. And I think the world is kind of a messed up place in many ways, but when we gather and connect with each other and remember our humanity, I think something really magical happens. So thank you for coming. And this poem is called Golden Sands. It's about doing an Ironman with two of my good friends, Skylar Baylor and Chella Mann. We did a relay, and it was awesome. I feel like we all healed from doing that together, so it's a poem about that. Buenos dias, I got you a coffee. The sun surges through these floor-to-ceiling windows. Even the hair on your arms glimmers in the warmth of it. The ocean crashes and calls. We make waves with our hands, an offering to one another to be the children we never were. Run in, dive under, emerge, ecstatic, my friend, then rest your face here in the palm of my hand. Let me sob, scream, free, everything trapped inside of me. We are luminous in this grand, undeniable seeing. I am giddy with you, my chest open again. I cannot believe how beautiful you are. Water rolls down your skin, refracts light into my soul. I love you. It frees me. I see everything it took for you to become. Snap the last shot here before the sun disappears. Even when the pink fades, the moon, our spotlight, the impossibility of our disappearance, the tips of my fingers dancing across your scars. That
last one filled me with so much queer joy. That was crazy. Thank you, Cal. Next up, plum.e champlin. is a mixed black trans mask writer of various poetic mongrels. Their work studies Gen Z's chronically online sublimation, the designer baby industry, and trans citizenship within these shattering states. Plum has worked for Swanee Writers Conference, Gasher Press, and currently April Gloomy Press. Their poetry has been featured in Cream City Review. For now, they still have an IG at plum.e.
Hi. Thank y'all for being here. I'm just gonna read the one poem. I didn't realize I could send in multiples, but this is the one that I want in the air anyway. I wrote a version of this right after my housemate in college. We had to inform her about a year after Sophie's death, the musical artist, Sophie Shion, who died very tragically, and it was a moment before my transition that really cemented something in me of what it means to be embody transness and tragedy, right, in legacy. What does it mean to be an artist whose art is always going to be complicated and always beautiful, right, always meaningful. So this is a form that I invented after the Golden Shovel. I call it polyphonic. It is after Sophie Shion's Immaterial, her song Immaterial, and Wanda Coleman's Ode for Donny Hathaway. So if anybody's interested in trying out a new form, feel free to contact me. Yes, thank you very much for being here. And thank you to my partner, Rose Jenny, who will be reading tonight, for giving me truly, undisputably life-changing feedback and also just support in general. And every poetry teacher who got me here. So thank you. Upon informing a housemate that Sophie is dead by the will of the moon, I see her leak the oil. I watch her spring. Letty sipped her rush, one nostriled hit, zombied was her grief. Tears hot, pink, opaque. Shout, fuck you, moon. I twinge, for on moon day nights, just this same glow rises. This full-body murderer to whom I'd prayed, and who made lit a running path for my mothers and some fathers before. So Sophie summons, pop off rhythm. And so I lonely cry, fix my knees on wood floor, and for a long moment my heart sits girl still. And each tran voice she birthed, our tears ever flecked, live polyphonics. In those weighty halos of our water swayer sensate, torn and thrown in that solid cold dawn, the sobs too of our mothers and some fathers before, when cloud wave barred escape. Doubled eyes of Virgo moon watched her watch cross o'er her chore, o'er her hand. Letty shouted, oh, for a song was over. My, her, our material love has come down. Inner voice sings loudest at night, midst the ticking teardrop of the waxwane plunge. Child T has my ducks wailin' without water, echanged as moon, sloshing in limbo, and no matter where I go, there is that too sweet hyperpop splash.
Is Isaac Dwyer here? Isaac Dwyer is an essayist, literary translator, and Islamic studies scholar. They are currently a PhD student in comparative literature at UCLA, where they work in Spanish, Portuguese, Urdu, Hindi, Romanian, Farsi, and Tahiki. Their translation of Mascalengina was honored by the 2025 Gulf Coast Translation Prize. And their other translations of Luis Carlos Barragan Castro can be found in Assistoti Journal, Body Shots, and Erotic Review. Their most recent academic scholarship on Judaism can be found in the Journal of Gender Studies. Isaac Dwyer.
Good evening. Pardon me just a second. Some of us are tall girls. Anyway, so the story I get to read for you right now, Mashalagnia, means axialism, i.e. an armpit fetish. So somebody's into mashalagnia, somebody's really into armpits. Do we have any of these people here? I imagine at least a couple knowing this crowd. So this story I translated from the Spanish. It's by my dear friend Luis Carlos Barragan Castro, who is a queer person from Colombia, confessed Muslim sometimes. And what you need to know about this story is that it's about a man from presumably Ecuador, Colombia, or Venezuela, who takes a job in Cairo and has been having very strange dreams and has on his armpit a mysterious red line. And this red line in his armpit has been giving him these fascinations with armpits of Cairo in a very hot summer, so lots of good sweaty armpits to look at. And what you need to know is that he found a man wearing a Batman shirt with the sleeves cut off, and he's followed this man back to his apartment. And so I apologize if sort of like monster armpit tentacle sex isn't for you. Now's a great time to go smoke a cigarette. So, without further ado. Farouk's room was narrow with a bare, unfinished floor, an old bed and wet clothes hung up to dry on every surface. The walls were blanketed by photos of armpits cut out from magazines and newspapers, arranged geometrically to form a single gigantic underarm. He tried to talk to me, but my Arabic wasn't that good. I only caught that his name was Farouk and that he was from Minya. We ran out of patience, him of trying to speak English and I Arabic, of standing face to face and posing as well-mannered, instead of ogling each other's armpits with a fervor we so desperately repressed. I wanted him to show me the eyeball in his armpit to make sure I hadn't been hallucinating. With a burst of courage, Farouk ripped off his shirt and made me take off mine. We threw each other to the ground with panting, dogged breaths. He firmly grabbed my left hand and made me raise my arm. To me, my weird allergy was monstrous, and I was self-conscious of their stank. I felt naked, helpless, yet at the same time thirsted for what might happen next. Farouk smiled. He leaned in to smell me, stroke my armpit with his fingers in a long caress, wetting his index in my sweat in complete concentration. His expression changed from astonishment to deep interest. His touches turned aggressive, staring at my armpit. He tried to split the red line open as if it were a fissure. He tried, then tried again, staring, brow furrowed, taking inventory. Sinking his face into my hair as he licked me. He was hard. He kept it going for a long minute, circling the red line's edges, tracing my veins' pruriginous pathways with the tip of his tongue, nibbling tenderly on the infection's perimeter. I felt a current zap down my dorsal spine, the image of Farouk's armpit flashing in my mind. There was something inside him that wanted to connect with me, fluttering to the rhythmic pulse of a terrifying electric whir. I wanted to know who or what it was rummaging around within me. Was there another creature here? Or was it only Farouk? Was it his soul? I closed my eyes and it became clear to me that it was a separate entity, an intelligent one at that, unfurling from a tunnel, crossing once compressed dimensions, its grisly gaze fixed firmly on my Atman, my eternal self. Farouk tried it again a second time. He plunged his thumb and index through the red line on my armpit and peeled open my skin. It hurt, I gasped. Fuck, it felt good. He slurped the warm and milky substance oozing out in jets, drip, drip down my torso. He smiled, stifling his giggles with a lascivious leer. The red line spread like a small vagina, and somewhere deep inside I felt a viscous creature toss and turn, hot and horny for its first release. Straining to get a good look with my arm raised, I craned my neck to see a blue-irised, ocular globe, the lips of my open wound blinking just like eyelids. The eyeball bulged with fulgent veins, swiveled every which way, checking out the bedroom where it found itself, until it paused and fixed on me. Our gazes locked. It was like staring at myself in the mirror. The next step was obvious. We could feel the attraction, the powerful energy drawing us together. We had to kiss. We yoked our armpits, his right to my left, hair against hair. The eyelids behind our bushy locks began to act like lips, giving kisses slow and spongy. I closed my eyes and tried to comprehend what I was feeling. Farouk did the same. I could make out the grainy texture of his pores, the creases and tiny crinkles, the surface of his veins, the majesty of his hair. My armpit's lips nibbled and toyed with his, and he fondly returned the favor. Our wounds kissed, sucked, and slobbered with a raft of rackety cackles, eyeballs rubbing each other furiously. Then, in a steady creep, Farouk's eyeball sprung from his armpit on the tip of a stem-like protuberance akin to a girthy tongue. A tentacle giving my armpit a wanton grope, wooing my wound for entry past its lips. Relax, Farouk said to me in English. At first, what was about to happen seemed impossible. The opening in my armpit was small, but beneath the insistent pressure of Farouk's girthy tentacle, little by little it began dilating, ripping, bursting. Gritting my teeth, I held back a moan with the tension broke and his tentacle slid in, making my ulcer's lips boiling hot, penetrating me, navigating my insides deeper and deeper. My eyeball slipped away, sneaking off to play hide and seek. Drooling, my eyes rolled back with pleasure as he took my virginity. Farouk moved his body over mine with a certain subtlety, like an invertebrate. My trembling muscles suddenly froze as goosebumps spread throughout my body. I clung him close to me with my free arm, but all of the strength and bodily awareness had left for my armpits, muscles, nerves, and veins. Farouk's tentacle coiled up inside me, exploring my humid cavity. The palpitating skin of my blush-red organs. He fucked me. He hurt me. Trickles of blood falling down my chest and landing on my pants. The tentacle clambered through my chasm before finding that skittish eye that hid within me like a wet and silky organ, sheltering in the depths of my ribcage, rolling up tightly around it. The most sensitive parts of our bodies were now united, intertwined, knotted together. I heard Farouk inside my head. Speaking in a primordial language, he tried to soothe me. We don't have to be alone anymore. Alone, lone, lone. His voice's echo clanged around my skull several times before dissipating. It wasn't a human voice, but an insect's buzz. Farouk had baptized the organ he seized within me as the spiritual clitoris. He said before extracting it with a cool and delicate tug. As we began to separate, I could see the large muscle of raw flesh chock full of veins that tied me to him. When the knot slid out, I jizzed my pants. Gasping. I watched with horror as my tentacle emerged from my body, clutching the ocular globe, interwoven tightly with Farouk's tentacle, suspended between us. We lowered our arms, but remained joined. I want you to relax, he said inside my mind, vibrating. Close your eyes. A roiling fervor of other people's thoughts bubbled inside my brain. Farouk and I sat on the ground of his bedroom with our legs crossed and closed our eyes, calming ourselves down. We breathed peacefully, preparing to plunge ourselves into the abyss. To be continued.
Fun fact about me, I can't even grow armpit hair, so growing tentacles would be kind of cool. Next up is Rose Jenny. Rose Jenny, she, her, is a trans writer, educator based in Tennessee. She is the recipient of the 2025 Bennett Nyberg Transpoetic Broadside Prize from Gasher Press. Her chapbook, Apocrypha. You heard it. Is available through Bottle Cap Press. There you go. Other publications can be found in Swim, Everyday, Oroboro, South Florida Poetry Journal, and elsewhere. Rose has received support from Tin House and Swanee Writers Conference. She earned her MFA in creative writing from the University of Miami. All of her work can be found at rosejenny.com.
I think I prefer apocrypha. Thank you so much. This is lovely. I was hearing a couple people before we started talking about like reclamation of queer autonomy. A lot of the book that this comes from is a slow reclamation toward that, but there has to be poetry that acts as like a stopgap in that. This is one of those poems about a family member who, in a moment of what should have been more connection, turned out not to be so. This is the one from Foglifter. This is, when he watches gay porn, he is gay. When he watches gay porn, he is gay, but otherwise, he is my grandfather. Smiling on a sofa while they swear in a Supreme Court justice will repeal the fragile symbolic progress we share. When pop-up cocks flood his Chromebook, he is a closet case. Elsewhere, watching men fight in tights with balls of leather blown up by boys eager to hold them, touched by lips like the boys in his search history. Otherwise, he is a man who refuses showers, flecks of skin patching on his scalp, a mark he makes as he reclines mausoleum living room furniture, untold faggotry caked into conservative stitching. And when he cries, spills himself at his desk, he is the worst kind of faggot, one that makes every impulse another faggot's problem, votes for the fascist, becomes him, while I transition in his sunroom, inspiring a new search term. Otherwise, he is reborn a boy, undeveloped, catching the Kentucky Derby on a television, horse after horse, galloping across his screen. The muscle, the static, the jockey's hand, petting the back of that straddled animal. He cannot help but wish for warmth, to press into a hard body, to know and hope that closeness kills them both. Switching gears, this is a poem about a queer family member who has since passed, and very much about the partner that she's left behind, my Aunt Claire. So this is Sue is Still Here. It's actually going to be published in Stone Canoe, which I believe is going to be in shops right by where she lives in like upstate New York. So very much looking forward to that. Yes. Sue is Still Here. In the Utica Public Library System, spreading lesbian mystery novels to neglected Catholic housewives and their closeted children. Sue is still at home with Claire. Tea steeping for breakfast, bagged by hand, cat hair catching on her tongue when she takes her first sip of the morning. Sue still sits on the love seat facing away from the skyline out their window, upstate New York's worst. Sepia filter always on, self-inflicted fires growing in the post-industrial distance. Sue still holds Claire. Sue still listens to Claire speak about her trip to Price Chopper, about the weather in Syracuse, about how rough her brother's hands used to be. And Sue still stays when Claire can't stop crying. Thank you, Sue. I'm in the process of moving again. After moving from Miami just a year ago, this is the first poem that I wrote when I moved to Tennessee. It is ideally the ending poem of the collection that I've written, and it is also a poem directed to my partner, Plum. So thank you, Plum. This is for when you cannot find me. For when you cannot find me, know that I've strapped my mattress to a truck bending past Chattanooga. I was there, whittling Lookout Mountain with the bottom of my worn box spring. I needed those old hills to let me rest before I uprooted again, bounced back into the shattered skeleton we share, each microfracture a new boon, a bone. Know, my friend, that you will not feel this way forever. That the dual bruise your state leaves over each ass cheek will fade under a cool compress. I need you to live. I need you to live so I might live. I need nothing more than for your blood to stay inside your body, your animal, your love. And know, my love, that the church you hurry past in Nashville is empty. The original sin left the pulpit. Dogma leaked deep into dark enlightenment. I need you to believe there is a God made of a home they cannot take. That unapologetic prayer is better. That real rapture isn't for everyone.
Thank you, Rose Jenny. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna do one more and then take like a 15-minute break, get a drink. So up next is Rebecca Morton. Rebecca Morton is a queer poet based in Chicago. She's the author of Clown from Tupelo 2027 and Afterbirth, Small Arbor Press 2024. Her poems appear in Smartish Pace, Colorado Review, The Offing, Sugar House Review, Cream City Review, Rhino, Tri-Quarterly, Poetry Northwest, and elsewhere, and have been featured in Verse Daily. A poetry reader at the Android Journal, she holds an MFA from Eastern Washington University.
It is bright, guys. My gosh. Hi, everybody. I want to start by thanking everyone who put this issue together from Foglifter. This is amazing. Like, the readers for them is like spectacular. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to read, I don't know, maybe 4 poems. I'll just start and we'll see how it goes. This is in this current issue of Foglifter. You ask for a separation and I refuse. The ocean peels earth from high-rise piles. Factory farmed dairy cows shift side to side in the barn. Deer pile up against freeway barriers. In a whiteout snowstorm, blinking orange lights sort us into a lane. I appear when you notice me, otherwise I keep driving. In July, I'll set up lawn chairs so we can wave to the neighbors. I'll have to thick garden hose to reach the roses. Our son will ride his big wheel into blackberry thickets. Sitting on the bathroom counter in just underwear, he will refold the blood-dotted gauze each time I pluck out a thorn. There are always other choices. Sitting on the bathroom counter in just underwear, I will refold the blood-dotted gauze each time you pluck out a thorn. You say I'm over the line, which might be true. We can't clock the speed. I'm moving that slow. Okay, I think I'll shift gears. All of these poems are in a collection coming out next year from Tupelo. It is called Clown. I am sorry in advance, I'm about to read poems about a clown. The clown throughout this collection is like a doppelganger or a second self to the primary character, who is me. Her name is Rebecca. And so I'm just going to read both of these clown poems. The titles roll right into the poems, so I'm just going to do one after the other. Again, clown zips me into the skin cocoon. The milky smell of it fills my throat. Stand up, she sings through both eye holes. In the white room, all bleach and glare, we practice lying. Each flashcard blank. Clown rolls her eye. I'm good, and you, Rebecca, say it. Later, I sleep on the commuter train. Clown arranges the dentist's mint green lead apron on my chest. A wide-jawed dog barks just beyond the setback. Clown whispers, try caring about anything. I try. I am the dog at the fence. I am the hands that lock her in. Okay, last one. Thanks. I should have brought more clown poems. Okay. Over the winter, moths do come. Each serrated leg catches in the comforter, sticks on the windowsill. Clown draws back, the blackout shades tolerate them. She sets out my linen dress and slingbacks. My wife and kids wait in the SUV. Some rivers are replaced by nothing, Clown says. The forest fire sky turning a late morning ochre. Some become silt. We drive to the Honey Jam for brunch with the in-laws. Stupid name, Clown whispers as we pull into the strip mall. She orders eggs over easy, spoons them into my mouth. Usually when I insist, my wife says yes. Tonight I insist, even though Clown says from under the bed, you thumbed moth parts from your sweater's sleeve all morning. And it's true. I like how a body turns to dust between my fingers, disappears. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a little break, 15 minutes. Have a smoke, get a drink. We'll be back, start up like 7:10 again. Okay, thank you everybody. Rose in the house? Did Jake Rose show up? Is that you? Hi. Jake Rose is a poet and artist based in California's Central Valley. Rose teaches at the University of California, Davis, and has work published or forthcoming in the Atlantic, West Branch, American Poets, Coach House Books, and elsewhere. Joan, winner of 2026 Phoenix Emerging Poets Book Prize, is their debut collection. Rose co-edits the literary magazine First Lit.
Thank you so much for having me. As an introvert, this is kind of my nightmare, but as somebody who grew up in a really small town, always looking for a queer community is also kind of a dream, so a little bit of both. Thank you so much for Foglifter for accepting these poems about sex work. Hopefully we can get it decriminalized someday soon. Okay, so I'll read 4 of these prose poems, then end with a kind of list poem. Client number 291. He turns down the framed picture of his dead wife, and I lay back on the starched quilt that smells like old dogs, staring up at the popcorn ceiling. I'm thinking how all his emails ended in sent from iPad. I'm thinking of Neil Armstrong and the astral wind moving lonely over astral bodies, rocks archived in the dense folds of libidinal space, a black slurry of stars somewhere above us. He fingered me with the coldest hands like macaroons, like shell casings, and we fucked until I bled. Later, I got a skin tag, which took years to fall off. Afterwards, we walked past family portraits down to the basement. He showed me a collection of records and music posters, asking if he could also pay me to build a unit of shelves. At this point, the blood was uncomfortable. 2 poodles were barking upstairs, white fur ringlets around their mouth, that weird rust-smelling fish food. I declined as something inconsolable was leaching out of me. I drove out of the retirement community, still thinking about the frame. Why not put the picture away when he knew it was coming? Why put it down only when I arrived, sitting on the bed? It felt like a kind of consent my cousins required. Maybe there is always a third person in the room, you and me in your grief, or me and mine, although I'm not allowed that in this line of work, because each sensation overwhelms me, sent from iPad. Client number 358. He was a Navy veteran living 5 stories up in a public housing complex across from the police station. It must have been fall because it was football season. I buzzed in stale sunlight, bleached flyers into the wall for free clinics that were months out of date. I'm guessing he was 75, white bristle mustache, faded sweatshirt, and he said with great confidence, "Don't worry, I have lots of coconut oil." I lay on the floor and the Patriots played over my torso and legs. Turning my head to the side, I stared at the pale light crumbling to dust under the gray couch, and he kept saying, "This is so great, can I call my friend Arthur? He lives just down the hall." I didn't want to say yes, but he did serve our country, and I don't think the windows in the apartment could be opened. I huffed the coconut fumes, and they did soften his arthritic hands, the blue aquamarine viaducts, caramel knobs of knuckle. He also told me he filed many complaints of bed bugs, which made me work faster. I was receiving a lot of information to process. I wondered vaguely, Aquiline, Romanesque, Polysma, W.G. Sebald, Maupassant eating lunch at the Eiffel Tower to avoid the view. Did I miss something by not loving architecture when it was always so profoundly touching me, and in whose shade I was silently living? Or what lay beyond the light of my vision? Throughout my life, people frequently remarked that I seemed like I needed a mentor, someone who would give me wisdom, and the implication was always an older man. And here I was, finding them now, listening, touching, feeling, inviting them in. We both ended in a daze that said, I didn't know what this meant to you or to me. He was still intent on the score of the game and calling Arthur. I washed up in the bathroom, checked the threadbare towel for bugs. It was autumn outside, and the neighbors were sweeping dry leaves into barrels to light on fire and burn to dust. Client 190. The stairs are layered with pool grime, mock dust, exhaust, cigarette butts, and backlit by gas lanterns. I have to knock twice before he opens the door. A pre-dawn fuck feels nude, like letting your subconscious in. I can see his alarm clock blinking 6 a.m. The sky is still dark, but at the edges a lighter ash is falling. His shoulders hunch and gather. A dark hue at the center column of my mind feels hot and vibrating, also compressed and downshifting too. My therapist keeps offering a diagnosis I never asked for, although I do enjoy the small plastic cups of water in the waiting room and a general high feeling I drink over and over. Do you ever look back on your life and think, I think I was high for a number of years chemically, spiritually, intently, that was actually me completely unsober. What my body was generating was a pheromone it smelled in sleep and kneeled at the font of seeking again over and over with shocking discipline. What more can I say? He had bleached eyebrows and rode in the rodeo circuit. Client 316. It is a cold October night by the Price Right and the Airbase. Pumpkin bread, stovepipes, and the frost just spiderwebbing up the tailpipe of his brown Ford Bronco. Halloween decorations are blinking purple and orange, a gleeful coffin's mouth swung open in the neighbor's yard. I open the gate of the chain-link fence to his backyard and hear a gurgle of water fountains, a ceramic stone bird bath overgrown in the last fecundity of autumn. When I asked if he was a DDF, he wrote that he just had his 6-month checkup at the VA and signed Hank. The kitchen is small, and after a linoleum lip, thick carpets crowd in. In the bedroom, a black chest of toys. It's so hard to make him come. It takes a lot of time, but I slip into a tunnel vision where I relinquish any immediate sensation and instead build a kind of runner's high. We don't even know what we're building together, or that's the sense that I give him. Capsicum, blowfly, paint thinner, we're gathering, cock ring, anal bead, ball gag, jack-o'-lantern. There's magic in the world when you come. He dusts my head, apologizes for going soft, gives me $30 extra for gas money. I walk back through the enchanted garden, the gnomes, the hoarfrost, the crunch of grass tinkering through links in the fence. It's 9 p.m., but it feels like midnight, and the sky is stuffed with stars. I think of getting choked out by Orion's belt. I think of sleeping sweetly in his arms. And then I'll just end with a list poem. Okay. This is the list poem called Altars. Magpies, cocaine, protein bars, lip gloss, solar return, saltfish, cocktail, money shot, sleeping pills, fluorescent aquarium, duck sauce, yellow cake, raw shrimp, apple store, night sweat, cheesecloth, carpal tunnel, urine cake, makeout, red eggs, pink salt, Siamese trucks, rest stop, morphine, white wine, semiconductor, baked beans, foxgloves, Febreze plug-in, Nicorette and Listerine, flu shot, albino, ATM, sauna, isobutyl glucan, 24-hour fitness. Tobacco tile, WWE raw, embroidered muscovado, musk ox, melatonin, omega-3 EMDR, 300 tablets, blackout curtains, hair splinters, whiplash, blue chip stock, antifreeze, queer phenomenology, dragon fruit, Himalayan salt, rubber bullets, German cockroaches, petrichor, bathtub clamps, tiger balm, Four Loko, Cumberland Farms. Captcha, reverse cowgirl, apricot LaCroix. Blood, bitter flowers, Novocaine, epilogue, vague narcolepsy, commerce of beauty. Tumbled quartz, Egyptian bed sheets, hotel soap, sex at the cold clasp of dawn, night herons, concrete pylons, and the disconsolate first blue light of spring. Thank you.
Wow.
Laurel Roth. Laurel Roth is a poet and potter from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Their work has appeared in or is forthcoming from Passages North, Puerto del Sol, Rhino Poetry, the Sugar House Review, and Friction, amongst others. And they have been nominated for Best New Poets. Laurel holds an MFA from Colorado State University and currently lives in Boulder with their partner and cats. Laurel.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm gonna lower this because.
Good idea.
Thank you. If I can figure out how to do it. Not all of us are tall girls. Okay. I'm really excited to be here. And be with so many amazing poets and yeah, thanks Foglifter, I really appreciate it. Thank you to the ASL Interpreters. It's really, really cool to see work translated in this way. It's beautiful. I'm really excited to watch my video back because I'm probably not going to be able to tell what's going on up here. So yeah, I'm going to read some poems. Okay, this first one is called Origin of Blue. In the bathysphere that is the future, you were a cerulean epiphany, an unexplored momentum, a third atmosphere. I was thirsty, so I opened all the windows and blue rainbows poured through. I said darling, and the shipwreck wrote an autobiography that ended with our names etched in driftwood. Before then, we slept, walked the deck, turned the volume down to lazy hours of salt-wrung sheets and delicate cycles. Before then, we went to the aquarium to see the tsunami, melancholy, plausible. In a vessel the size of the Pacific, its throat an eternal sob. Even there, childhood seemed so peripheral, behind a moat and a moat and a fault. It was not your fault that the glass shattered, that grief resonates a pitch only whales can recognize. Sometimes something says, wake up, and we do. Sometimes a tattoo traces the architecture of the body you have not yet lost. Don't worry. One day, deep sea divers will find its inscription and wash away the minutes we spent here. Their helmets, so little protection, bubbles rising toward an inverted sun. This next poem is in 3 parts, and each part is an erasure of the last. It's sort of like a lazy burning high bun, if you know Tornado Great House. I'm gonna signal the start of a new section by snapping, so that's what's happening. Okay, it's called Apricots. 200 sun-deep embryos asleep in sugar water, each puckered against its once attached mouth. 11 years I lay awake in the room across the hall from the one good harvest, and never succumb to sweetness. 11 years since, sleep has returned me to this house, to give birth to children I cannot see, to walk the webs of the garden spiders that used to booby trap the orchard that was always most real as a museum of jars. Now I am sick of saving things so that other people can enjoy not having them. Like a thief, I've imagined the soft seam of my brow as I slick a knife beneath the first seal to uncork another season. I've imagined the absence of the almond-shaped pit and how I'd swallow it like a body reabsorbing an underripe dream. But nights when I can only think your taste, I worry not all wounds are meant to heal. When my belly's want has brought me to the lip of this glistening bowl, could I bear to eat anything so steeped in itself? 200 years I lay awake and never returned to the garden, that booby trap orchard, real as a museum. I am sick of saving people I've imagined, slick absence of a body. But when I think, I worry all wounds to the lip of itself. Awake to the real, a body, I worry, wounds itself. Okay, so I really like science. Like I feel like I'm a scientist that writes poetry. And this poem came from a fact I learned, which is that butterflies do something that's called complete metamorphosis, whereas like crickets and cicadas, those kinds of insects, do something called incomplete metamorphosis, which I thought was really interesting. So yeah, this poem is called Incomplete, Complete Metamorphosis. 1. Heard I'm prettier when I wipe my tongue to quiet. Heard him say, sure, cut it all off, shave your head for all I care. I would still fuck you, and did. I didn't want to discover the fluttering country at the end of my auditory canal. I just turned inward, like sand, choking the throat of an hourglass, unable to support another second. I didn't want to learn. Still, I heard about the difference between crickets and butterflies, how one splits its skin, hangs it off a blade of grass like an outdated dress, how the other digests itself to a thing unrecognizable. 2. My hunger reinvents itself for the 5th time in as many days, holding smoke to my breastbone like a rabid gray cat, chewing half moons in my cuticles, licking the milk that wells from the breach. While the video of emo girls buffers in my hunger's gut, I'm still stuck on the time we shared one mouth, crammed into the stairwell of a tack in Saddle Town. Blue hair under a beanie, hand clasped to my pulse. God, I want to make you come. Now my hunger's grown less dumbstruck, more prone to disturbance. Probes around in incognito as if to dissect a new means of taking, as if to say, then make me. 3. Mornings I simulate touch, standing at the window until the sun palms the transparency, until my patience reaches a minor form of despair. I want to kiss the silk buttons of your chest, smooth my nose to the silver scars that fasten them there, though despair is more in season. It's hard not to have faith in change. when I slide the needle into my belly fat, when I think of you folding paper into wings, threading the thoraxes into offerings for neighbors with rainbows flying from their eaves, each of us enacting worlds that do not yet exist. Okay, this next poem's called Erasure, and I wrote it, so I was at Community of Writers last summer. I was one other person here who shared that experience, and on the last day, you wrote a poem every day, and so on the last day, you're like completely like squeezed dry. And so I was like, I'm just gonna pick a word. I have this bag of words, and I was like, I'm just gonna pick a word, and I'm writing a poem about that. That's what it's gonna be. And so I picked the word erase, and then this poem appeared. So this is Erasure. I erase the power lines from the scene, erase the minutes, the visible spectrum, thunder exhales atmospheric pressure. I erase my face from the brown water pooling in the fields. I erase the sky, erase the clouds stacked like stones above the sky. I take up my hatchet, carefully hack into nothing. I erase the hatchet. I erase the lily-ridden surface of my grandmother's mirror. The iron back falls away in a rain of ash. I erase the brass sections of the sun, the harmonics of the horn player. I erase the color blue, the cabbage moths. I erase the bowl of homegrown tomatoes, over green and heavy with eyes. I erase systems of weather, carceral systems. I erase the memory. I erase the memory of memory. I erase the memory of kissing you against the Airstream trailer. Erase the night around us. Thank you.
Laurel. D.M. Spratley. D.M. Spratley is a Wallace Stegner Fellow, Cave Canem Fellow, North Carolina Arts Council Fellow, and William C. Friday Fellow for Human Relations with work in Poetry Magazine. Best New Poets, The Android Journal, and elsewhere. She is at work on a poetry manuscript, a novel, and an EP, and a collection of critical lyric essays. Find her online at dmspratley.com and on Instagram at dmspratley.
Hey y'all. Hi. Okay, I have two poems for you. And the first is in this issue of Foglifter. Thank you, Foglifter. This is an incredible reading. I'm so happy to be here. Maybe you want this issue, or you want another copy of this issue after hearing all of these wonderful writers read their work. This is Homes on Fire. After Marion Coleman, Textile 2014. And this textile is a piece that I saw at the Oakland Museum of Contemporary Art in the Black Spaces exhibit. If you got to see it, it was incredible. If you didn't, you can still look up this work, and it's commemorating black and brown neighborhoods that were displaced by development in the 60s, Russell City in particular. But of course, as we know, this happened all across the country. So this poem is concerned with the role that women and femmes played in protecting their communities, with gender, with all kinds of violences. and with madness. Homes on fire. I have been very beautiful and will remain that way. I'll make sure of it. A woman, what should I call her? Lover? Says I can stop with the Botox between my brows. You deserve to be mad. My grandmother pressed her nightgowns. Even her nightgowns she took the hot maw of the iron to. The city was bulldozing neighborhoods to build a freeway. Some women burned their vacant homes, vacated homes rather than see them pinned under the tank's persistent crawl. Some women pinned letters up inside their hems, saying who you could return them to if found. If found, please return to. This was for walking home, for the walk home. If found, please return to. Some of the homes that kept smoking after the last wildfire, just kidding, there is no last wildfire. Some of those homes held lovers inside them like a hand holds a voice inside a throat. Tanks. The city used tanks instead of bulldozers. In their pressed nightgowns, our grandmothers had options, yes, or yes, or yes, hysterical laughter. On the ward, a patient got her hands on a needle and stitched her life story into the sheets. I have been very beautiful, it said, and will remain that way. She is crazy. She doesn't even wear nightgowns. Who could love something like that? Each night, she gets on top of her life, rolls all over it like a child or an officer, unraveling over time the hem of it, letting it, no, forcing it loose. And I'm curious if there are folks in here who hate rape culture. Yeah, maybe not quite loud enough. Okay, this poem goes out to everybody who hates rape culture. Reclining nude. There are certain men I don't ever want to be alone in a room with. I am certain that to be alone in a room with these men is to be alone as with a painting, unspeaking object of attention, and of course, I am the painting. The man is the room, the whole room and its unrepentant furnishings. The painting has shaved ceilings and unspeakable light. The man is the whole room and everything in it. In the painting, one lover, no room for a bed, only a sofa with her spine unyielding in the middle of their living. The artist gives stage directions, a wave of the hand, an unspoken yes. Yes, there. Move this way and that. Show more of the room. Show the place where he builds a fire and all the damage the smoke causes, trying to escape. The painting lit from underneath with pinks and ochre. That is called imprimatura, says the man. Says he thinks it means young. His finger follows one long thigh, up and up. Thank you.
This, we may not know, this is a last minute add-on. Our dear friend Johnny Alvarez.
Yeah.
Johnny Alvarez is a queer Midwestern Cuban American writer and filmmaker. His stories and essays have appeared in Quiet Lightning, Plenitude Magazine, and The Hunger Journal.
His films have screened at festivals in LA, Chicago, Seattle, and elsewhere. He holds an MFA from the University of San Francisco and received grants and fellowships from Sundance, SF Film, Outfest, and Comedy Central. IG at on a period de period armpit. That's a callback from earlier.
Hello, everyone. Forgive me for reading off my phone. I did not know I was going to get to read until like 2 hours ago. So, Foglifter, thank you so much for publishing my short story that I'm going to read a little excerpt from. It's called Performer 93. It really is quite blinding up here. This is like, I would describe this as a sci-fi HTML love story. It's about a sad, old, lonely gay man who is obsessed with his AI OnlyFans porn bot. And like becomes obsessed with breaking him out of federal prison. So that's the tea. I'm really sorry for some of the things you're about to have to sign. Disclaimer. Established in 2031, the performance driver is protected and monitored by the Federal Commission for Carnal Release. All content and information contained herein remains property of the United Western Territories. Any duplication or unapproved dissemination of official FCCR documents is considered punishable by law. The following is a transcript of the performance log from driver profile 0093. The log is presented in chronological order dating from January 27th to September 12th, 2037. No elements of this transcription, including the original web addresses, have been altered or rearranged. Additional content, such as comments from users other than Big Dad Ralph 484, or references to other performers have been omitted due to lack of relevance. No party involved in this investigation has yet to be formally charged with criminal activity. www.performancedriver.gov/driver profile/0093, January 27, 2037. As you can see, I was made for sex. Depending on who I am engaging in intercourse with, I am little more than an embodied fleshlight, a dildo with a pulse. I simply love to dispel my bodily autonomy and become a pliant sex object. It is deeply enriching for me to do this. As you can see, the gentleman I copulate with in this video was merciless. He had a tremendously thick cock, which was exhausting to handle. But of course, it was not up to me to decide when the sex was over. I had to work extra hard to keep my sphincter muscles relaxed enough so that his path remained unimpeded. As you can see, great success was achieved when he flooded me with his seed and uttered the most implausible proclamations regarding my impending pregnancy. I can confirm that this is impossible, primarily because of my assigned male form, but also for other reasons that I will not get into. Watch until the end to see me push his ejaculate out of my wonderful boy pussy. You may find it reminiscent of the center of a donut, its silky cream filling dripping onto your finger. I cannot say for sure if this is the most accurate metaphor. I have technically never eaten a donut. Eating is not what I was made for. User comment, Big Dad Ralph 484, January 27, 2037. Wow, stunning! You are such a beautiful boy, and perfect too. I cannot believe my eyes. I'm an older gentleman who lives alone and does not get out much. So seeing a boy as beautiful and sexy as you really made my day. I am so glad I found your page. I do not know where you live, or maybe I could visit you sometime. Or maybe you could come here. I live alone and I have a nice house with 2 cats named Pippi and Pomegranate, Pommy for short. You will love them. Gosh, what I would give to kiss those perfect plump lips. Have a special day. Driver profile 0093, February 6, 2037. I just love taking cock and cum. It is my sole purpose. As you can see by how eager I am to receive redacted, hefty member in this sensational 33-minute and 34-second video, unedited for your viewing enjoyment. I have done everything I can to make this scenario as enticing, stimulating, and marginally shameful in order to activate your sex drive in all the right arenas. I hope that I have succeeded in my efforts, and that my efforts have implanted a false memory of you, dear user, too probing my rear, with what I am sure is a equally large phallus, a phallus which I'm sure is also wonderful to gaze upon, such as one may gaze upon a beautiful refrigerator, or a soothing train track, or upon one's beloved exterminator. These are things I understand to conjure happiness. Am I correct? Do refrigerators conjure happiness? Woof! Another sexy vid from my new favorite boy. Gosh, I sure do envy the lucky man who gets to spend private time with you. I'm sure you wouldn't be interested in an old fart like me. You're young and gorgeous and could have any man you want. For what it's worth, I would take such good care of you, stud. I touch you all over and I make you feel relaxed and happy. Big thumbs up from this guy. I recently discovered the term down low after I was activated by a man who, despite being married to a woman and having several children, was interested in paying for a simulation so that he could touch and play with my ass. It was my first time engaging the periscope feature, and as you can see, it all worked very smoothly. This family man had an ecstatic time investigating my anatomy. I believe that he was pleased as he began to cry. Tears are a fascinating biological creation. How exactly are they tethered to emotion? I am aware of the concept guilt and was curious if my family man was experiencing something like that while exploring my anus. Oddly, there was some sort of glitch with the periscope feature, and I remained perceptive of the family man even after he had logged out. I suppose I should have halted the feed, but instead, I watched as he took his spouse and children to dinner. His spouse had long brown hair that clumped unhappily around her shoulders. She seemed quite exhausted, though I would not necessarily know, as I do not require sleep. They went to a Spanish restaurant, and when the wife stopped the waiter to tell him that her gazpacho was too cold, I felt something that I believe resembled sadness. I'll call it there. Why not? Oh, you want more?
Wow. What a night, everybody. I feel so much love in this room. So much queer love, queer joy. And that's what my life is all about, is queer joy. And expressing ourselves and living this life that wasn't available a couple years ago. We're so lucky. But we have to keep going, you know what I mean? It's not over. We're here, we're queer, and they're still not used to it. Fuck them, you know what I mean?
Fuck up.
Foglifter has been around for longer than I've been alive, if you haven't noticed. 11 years. Foglifter. Mayan, Chad, Marina, Milo, I know not everyone's here, Dior, Charlie, Susanna, Foglifter team, we love each other, and we're so happy to share this queer joy with all of you. And thank you for coming. Yay! I love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Stud. Stud, you're here. Tip your bartender, buy a drink. If you don't buy a drink, tip them anyways. Okay. They have another event, so have fun. I love you. Bye.